Hello everybody and welcome to Twitch TV's Gambit Cup Finals. Sass versus Ace. Winner gets hundreds of dollars, loser gets nothing. Best of 7, actually 2 best of 7s, possibly 3, but for right now, just today, it's going to be 1 best of 7. In the top position, we have Sass Ace, the teal Zerg, and in the bottom left, we have GT's Michael, the purple Zerg. So 2 of the stronger players for both teams coming out right out the gate. Michael may or may not, it depends on who you ask, but he has acted as Ace for GT many a time, him and Snitzel. So you could certainly make a strong case that he is in fact the best player on GT's team. And Ace, obviously he's not Zeke, but other than Zeke, you could make a pretty solid argument that Ace is Sass's best player. So starting off strong with 2 Zergs here, and both players actually going to scout in the right direction, which is a little bit interesting that Michael is scouting in this direction. He is not scouting towards the natural, he's scouting towards the slightly closer main. Interesting. Is he doing a funky build? I guess we'll have to see if he's doing a funky build. No, it's usually advisable to send your Overlord towards the natural. When you put your Overlord over the natural, you not only can see what your opponent's doing ever so slightly faster, because you can see the presence of a hatch or not a hatch, but also you can see the movement of the lings easier. So you know exactly how many lings your opponent's sending out at you in the early game, and you can react accordingly. Not going to make a huge difference this game, as they are both going with mirror builds. And this Overlord should have enough time to get to that hatchery before the spawning pool finishes. And if not before the spawning pool finishes, certainly before the first lings finish. So not seeing how many lings Ace originally makes is not going to be a factor in this game. 2 guys on gas for Ace. We would assume Michael's doing the same thing. No, Michael has 3 on gas. Okay. So slight deviation as both players put down their hatcheries. Typically, you don't need 3 guys on gas. Going 12 full with expand, you just don't have that big of a need for gas at that point in the game. It's more important to get the minerals to be able to afford the hatchery, and however many Zerglings you're going to need. But oh well, Ace puts another one on gas. Both players, because they got the scout off on their opponents early, they both saw that neither of them built any early lings. So both players were able to get away with just building 1 set, possibly to try to snipe some scouting lings. But Ace is going to sneak his lings around. You saw he did not go quite through the center. He ducked down a little bit and then came over as to avoid Michael's lings, just to be able to try to sneak an attack in there if Michael is not paying attention. And actually, Michael's doing the same thing, hiding his lings just over in this little corner. We'll have to see if either of these pairs of lings will be able to snipe any drones, because in a mirror match like this, that's what's really going to make the difference. A pair of lings sniping a couple drones can have drastic effects over the rest of the game. Alright, lair is done for both players. And Ace built significantly more lings than Michael did, so many so that he actually delayed his own spire. His spire just started compared to Michael's, which has a little bit of progress on it. It shouldn't make a huge difference. It shouldn't make a huge difference in the Mutalist timing, but it's interesting to see Ace get a little bit psyched out like that. He had an Overlord in perfect position. He could see exactly how many lings Michael's building. But here comes Ace coming in, going for a snipe on the drones. A good pull by Michael so far, but the longer these lings are in here, the longer they can create unproductive mining, and they are going to at least snipe 1 drone. Why is Michael not reacting? Michael's playing around with lings on his own side, and he's sending a lot of lings over, but he's not actually fighting the lings Ace sent in, just relying on his drones to take them out. Now Michael does have a rather large number of lings, hiding some of them back. Not sure if he just hasn't rallied them in yet. I still think Ace has larger numbers though, so I don't think Michael's going to be able to do anything here. Ace looks pretty protected, not to mention he has a better arc. Yeah, Michael's just gonna have to pull back. Excuse me, Spire should be finishing up pretty soon. Ace is getting close. Michael's just finished. How many Mutalisks is he morphing? None. He's going for all Scourge immediately. I guess he did not have the minerals at the time, because as you can see, he's only at 50 minerals. He could not have afforded to make those into Mutalisks. Spent too much on Zerglings. And Ace should be in a pretty similar position. You see he's pretty mineral poor. Does manage to get 2 Mutalisks out, though, instead of the 4 Scourge. But 2 Mutalisks are going to have a really hard time microing down a pack of 6 Scourge. Michael has so many Scourge, I wonder if he's going to go for a little bit of a different tack, try to snipe some Overlords. Ooh, there goes one. And they're just camping over the eggs. They're going to be able to snipe another one as soon as this hatches. This is not a good start to the game for Ace. Oh, disappearing Mutalisk. Never fun. And Michael's going to have to... he might yeah, he's going to sacrifice one into an Overlord. And he doesn't even have the other one there, so Overlord instantly regains his health. But still, killing off the first 2 Mutalisks, nice move by Michael. As you can see, Ace now has to produce Scourge of his own. He still doesn't have this huge bank of minerals, and oh, wow. Yet another Scourge hit. That's 5 Scourge hits already at this point in the game for Ace. It's going to give Michael a nice advantage for whenever he does start to get his Mutalisk flock up. Only at 2 right now, but more on the way. Random Overlord. Well, Ace actually... Whoa. Was that on purpose? I think that Michael just killed off a couple of his lings on purpose to free up supply, because he is supply blocked right now, despite having killed those lings. It's a little bit interesting. But you can see Ace is actually significantly ahead in supply despite losing those early Mutalisks, and that's in part due to that early couple lings he got in there. Managing to pick up 2 drone kills is really going to set your opponent back, and ooh, very close to getting a couple more hits on those Mutalisks. Michael's going to need those, as Ace does have a slightly bigger flock. Taking another hit. But now Michael is out of Scourge, and oh, he's going to eat a lot of Scourge hits of his own. And now there's only 1 Mutalisk. It has to dodge Scourge, and oh, Ace's flock. The last Mutalisk goes down, and now Ace is going to be able to take out a lot of these a lot of these drones. There's no defense for Michael here, and it looks like Michael's just going to go for the counterattack. He doesn't have another choice here. He has to just send in all of his lings. Meanwhile, Ace is continuing to pick off the Mutalisks as they pop, still eating so many Scourge hits. Very uncharacteristic play for Ace, who usually has great control, but it might not matter in this game. There's a 1 Mutalisk overhead and still a good number of Zerglings for Ace. Michael's not going to be able to break through, and this is not looking good at all for Michael. GG. Ace takes game number 1. Getting a message? Alright. Alright, I do have confirmation that I will be casting the Game versus Liquid Drone grudge match after this. So if you want to see some general some general bad manner between 2 old school players and me trying to be a dick to them, stick around afterwards. But we have some more serious StarCraft before that. We have the continuation of SAS versus GT, which I don't even know what the next game is. So let's find out. Create, browse. It's gonna be Zaraki versus True Touch. All right. Let's actually start the game before I type these in. GT True Tax. Do we capitalize True Tax? Capital C in True Tax. Alright. So we have True Tax True Tax pronounced True Touch as the orange Zerg in the top right. And we are going to have Sass Zaraki as the teal Zerg bottom left, so a ZVZ once again. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the game versus drone grudge match, I'm trying to remember the title of the thread. Go look up a thread called Dear GG Zerg or Telecom, or whatever your name is. The title was something to that effect, but just search for Dear GG Zerg, and then read that entire thread to find out what the grudge match is about. Because there were like 5 different grudge matches challenged in that thread, and only one actually came to fruition. And it was played, it was just never casted. And I will be the one who to cast it. And I may or may not be getting a co-caster for it to help me be a dick. Oh, look at Zaraki being so fancy, moving those larvae over. So he can spawn drones slightly closer though, so that he can get an extra half a lap in over the lifetime of those drones. Abusing that map, advantage. So we have True Touch, who went, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's 12 pool. Went 12 pool. And Zaraki also with the 12 pool. So yet again, we are going to see mirror 12 pool builds. It's slightly interesting. That could be coincidence, or one of these teams could have just practiced a lot of 12 pool in their ZVZ. Alright, so as we're going to see, once again, both the hatcheries go down and they start mining on gas, but because this map, the spawning locations are going to be a little bit farther apart, neither of these overlords are going to get there in time. So as we can see from Zaraki, 6 slings on the way. As we can see for True Touch, 6 slings on the way. You need those 6 slings in case your opponent went for a 9 pool, and neither player has confirmation that that did not happen yet. So that's going to be the first deviation between this game and the last game. Both players in the last game had the luxury to build fewer lings than or as few lings as necessary. In this game, both players need to be a little bit more cautious. But both players will be skipping speed and going directly for lair first, and then starting speed afterwards. Ooh, actually, True Touch hasn't started it yet. There we go. Just a little bit later with that. I think it was just a little bit of a mistake. He had the minerals for it. But Zaraki's going to barely get to this ramp in time to block True Touch off, and a little bit of a ling dance before True Touch backs up. He has some more lings back here, so just 8 though. Yeah, it looks like just 8. He's not gonna commit to anything serious. Alright. Well, lair is finished. As soon as either player gets up to enough minerals for the spire, we'll be throwing that down. There goes Zaraki. Zaraki's actually going to have the minerals slightly faster than True Touch to throw down his spire. As you can see, Zaraki's going to have a little bit of advantage, and really the only difference in this game so far has been Zaraki wiggled some drones over here and managed to get 1 extra round in. You know what, man? In ZVZ, it really is those small differences. Oh. True Touch also threw down this creep colony. That probably also had something to do with it. Which is a little bit of it. It's a little bit of an interesting decision, throwing down a creep colony when you realize you're both going mirror builds. I mean, it'll be nice. He does have an overlord overhead, and he can see exactly how many lings are out for Zaraki, and he can also not only see how many, but when they move out, so he'll have time to make that into a sunken. But investing 75 minerals plus the cost of a drone into a creep colony without knowing your opponent's going to move out can seem a little bit overprotective. Is this mannered? Ooh, this is mannered. Ah, True Touch. True Touch with like the Z motion on the drones. Ah, that's sad. Alright. Well, both Spires are finished. First Mutalisks are on the way. Looks like this game players are going to be going a little bit more for Mutalisk-focused air forces rather than the Scourge-focused ones. Not as many Zerglings on either side, which is really what's causing that. Last game, both players built up a lot of Zerglings, so they didn't have the minerals to invest in that many Mutalisks. This game, more reasonable number. And ooh, Ling's gonna sneak in. Certainly won't be able to get any kills before the Mutalisks pick it off. Or not. Oh wow, that was actually pretty close. But it does get a scout off. Still no significant difference between either player. I mean, the biggest one being that True Touch built a sunken colony. True Touch sneaking some Zerglings up here. If he sees Zaraki move out with his Ling force, he can just attack with 4 Lings, force a little bit of a harder micro situation for Zaraki. Maybe catch a couple extra drones if he slips up just a tad. And actually, True Touch is going to go in. He's not going to wait for Michael to move out. He's just going to go in with the Lings. I don't know what he expected to get there with getting through a wall of Lings and then Mutalisks overhead. But alright. Why not? Both players are gearing up with large Mutalisk forces and not moving out. This would seem like a good time. Okay. This would seem like a good time for either player to get some Mutalisk upgrades, and we do see True Touch going for the +1 carapace. In the short term, it's going to make it so he can't build 1 or 2 extra Mutalisks, but the way the game is shaping up, it seems like he's going to be able to delay it long enough that he will get +1 going. Or possibly not, as Zaraki is now moving out. If he can hit before that +1 hits, he would have an advantage in this battle, although he does have to deal with that sunken colony. How much longer until +1 finishes? It's not even halfway yet. So, True Touch is going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage for the time being. There's also a lot of Scourge out for Zaraki. Oh, not dodging those Scourge once again. Actually, both players not doing a terribly good job of it. Now we got a little bit, though. And all the Zerglings coming in, trying to focus down the Sunken Colony. Sunken Colony will go down, and the Mutalisks are forced to get into combat. Zaraki's going to be able to attack them. True Touch losing all of his Lings, and Zaraki's Lings can now work on the hatchery, now work on the drones, while the Mutalisks fight overhead. It's pretty close, but I think that True Touch actually does have the advantage, so eventually Zaraki's Mutalisks will be cleaned up. Wow, they're actually a huge advantage for True Touch. He had some hatch during the middle of that battle. And these Lings, they do manage to kill some drones, they do manage to kill all of True Touch's Lings, but that's not enough damage for losing your entire Mutalisk flock like that. And True Touch's +1 will be finishing relatively soon. True Touch actually going in for the attack now. What is Zaraki's defense is going to look like? All he can do is just produce a lot more Mutalisks and Scourge. A Spore Colony is not really a viable option at this point, and he's just going to need some really good micro. He needs to avoid Scourge hits. He can't take many of them and still be able to win this. Trying to trap True Touch's Mutalisks with the Scourge. He actually does eat some on the way in, but here comes True Touch's Scourge, and takes 1 hit immediately, then starts to back off. And all the Scourge wasted on an Overlord. I don't think that was on purpose. But 4 Lings from True Touch now going to be able to attack the drones. Zaraki runs out of Mutalisks, and True Touch looks like he is going to be able to tie up this series 1-1 as the Zerglings come in to attack the drones, and all the Mutalisks come in. Zaraki losing all of his drones, down to only 12 supply, and GG! True Touch taking game number 2 in this best of 7. So, game number 3. We have Zeke versus Jumper. Well, that's a good set. All right. In the top left position, we have Sass's best player, Foreign Brood War's best player, Sass Zeke, who is the only SAS member who is allowed to have a capital letter in their name. He's just that damn good. You'll be the white Zerg, and in the bottom location we have GT's Jumper. No special capitalization, no Jumper. It's not Jumper, it's just Jumper. So, alright, so, PVZ this time, on La Mancha. I do believe this map is slightly Zerg favored, if I remember correctly, but it's a pretty okay map overall. The issue with this map for Protoss is that the third base can be a little bit far away, and the Zerg, not only does the Zerg have multiple attack paths, but if you want to try to defend it, it can actually take a good amount of time for units to get over that bridge, just because the bridge is so long, and for goons to try to struggle their way across. You can make this map just slightly difficult for Protoss, but overall, it's a pretty even map. Alright, well, I didn't actually have a chance to say how these two teams have played against each other. So far, this Gambit Cup, GT has really had SAS's number. The last time they played was in Winners League format, and Michael just straight up all-killed 4-0 win over SAS, which was quite the surprise, considering that SAS didn't even have a augmented lineup. They had their best 4 players went out against Michael, and he beat them all, which really shocked a lot of people. And the other time they played was in normal format, and it was 4-3, GT just eking it out. But the results are a little bit deceptive, because SAS got 3 wins, and 2 of those 3 wins were walkover wins. So really, GT won 4-1. Again, really putting the hurt on SAS. That's not how you wall on this map. If he puts the gateway here, which it looks like he is going to, then this isn't tight. But if he puts the gateway really far forward like this, then the cannon does not do anything to protect it. Oh, right. You can do that on this map. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's tight on this side. And then that's an okay opening in the center. I take it back. Oh man, look at that fan of units for Zeke just scouting out in all directions. Even sending a drone down along this course, an additional scouting drone. The Overlord did see Jumper's base. I'm pretty sure Zeke was looking for some proxy. Which, I mean, if you're Zeke, you should probably be looking for proxy every game. Because there's a lot of people who don't think they have a shot against you, straight up. Because there's a lot of people who just don't have a shot against you, straight up. So, wasn't paying too close of attention to Zeke's build, but he's gonna get the layer up after throwing down that hatchery, and ooh, Jumper only built 1 cannon, so Zeke's just gonna go for the run by. That probe was not quite in time to block it. A good block at the ramp, though, is going to prevent the Lings from immediately running in, allowing the cannon to get a couple extra shots. And now, finally, the Lings managed to get in. One of them almost dead, though. I don't think these Lings are going to be able to do too much damage. That was an interesting play by Zeke. Jumper had a good wall, but he just diagnosed that there was only 1 cannon there. The probe wasn't there in time. He was going to be able to get in. And well, Ling's gonna try to be annoying a little bit longer. Wow, Jumper's actually letting a couple of these probes go down. That Ling already at 3 kills. One of those kills was a scouting probe, I believe. So I think it's just 2 kills for 2 probes knitted by the run by so far. But he does have a scout off in the base, which is quite helpful. He can fly the Overlord away if he wanted to, which I think would be a good move from him. Once the Corsair comes out, he might be able to keep that Overlord alive if he had floated it away. And he still have this same scouting information, but going to just be annoying with this Ling for a while longer. Still very possible he picks up a couple more probes. or at least one. Anyway, sees the Citadel going down. And... oh, he gets another one. Very nice play, Zeke. Making the most out of his drones and the most out of his Zerglings and what looked like a failed run by. He managed to pick off 3 additional probes after running into the main, and it makes up for it. Definitely worth it for the run by. Meanwhile, behind that, Zeke is just doing the normal stuff. Hatchery has gone down. Spire has gone down. A 5th hatchery. Looks like this drone is... no, not that drone. Eventually a 5th hatchery will go down here. First Corsair out. It scouts the Lings coming out, and it looks like... did that Corsair already get a kill? No, it did not. Looks like that Overlord was able to get away. So Jumper's not going to be able to get that free Overlord kill that most... Protoss players so enjoy, and they can start attacking Overlord here, but it's going to be on top of those 2 Scourge when they hatch. Jumper's going to have to pay really close attention to not lose the Corsair. Nope. Nope, he was not paying close enough attention. Corsair goes down. A second Corsair coming out, I think it's actually looking for that first Overlord, because it just kind of headed out into the middle of the map and is now heading back. But 2 Scourge on an intercept path, not going to quite reach it. Actually, not going to come close to reaching it. The cannon hasn't quite warped in yet, so Zeke can play a little bit of a game with these Corsairs here. Just trying to hit one, but they find the other cannon. Alright. And a nice SimCity from Zeke on this side. Very well-constructed wall there. Plenty of room to throw down more Sunkens if he needs it. On this side, similarly, very, very nice-looking wall. As that hatchery is almost done. Zeke doesn't tend to go for Mutalisks, so I'd be surprised to see that from him. I think he's going to just go for the standard Hydralisk play. Zeke can, however, go for either a more aggressive Hydralisk style or just take this space back here and go for more defensive. But Jumper's first DT is out. Is Zeke paying attention? No, it looks like Zeke is not paying attention. Loses 4 Lings, 5 Lings. And wow, Zeke made a lot of Scourge. Did he scout? I don't think he was there when that +1 was started, so I don't think he scouted +1 Sairs. But anyway, he's going to have a pretty good opportunity to do some damage to him. One cannon can't protect all of them, and certainly when they move out, if Zeke just wants to wait that long. As it looks like that's what he's going to do. Those also could be there just in case of DT drops. Just because that's a style that Jumper does particularly enjoy. So, spend that gas early. Alright. Well, Overlord speed's almost done. So whenever Jumper does move out again, it's going to be significantly harder to pick off Overlords. And yeah, neither player's done anything particularly wrong yet. It's just that Zeke's gotten a couple of those nice little breaks. Just doing some good damage with a run by that looked like it maybe shouldn't have done so much damage, picking off that first Corsair. And really, when you start to get up to higher levels, games can really be determined by just a sum of all those little things. But here comes Jumper moving out. +1 speed is done. Also an Archon. And linking up with that DT that was already out there earlier. When is +1 going to finish? Zeke with a pretty good Hydralisk force. If he can get into a good position, that Hydralisk force might actually be enough to beat Jumper, but oh, actually Zeke not paying quite enough attention there, is going to engage at a little bit of a bad angle, allowing Jumper's Zealots to close without getting any shots on them, but it's still probably going to be enough. Oh, Zeke turning around with that Overlord definitely needs it to detect the DT, and no, it's not going to be enough for Zeke. Jumper, despite having less units, are just going to be able to close in and take a lot of them out. In part because Zeke was moving into them and allowed Jumper to get the first hit off with sword units compared to his ranged. And second, because some of his Hydralisks were on the low ground shooting up. It was just a bad position for Zeke to engage. More Hydralisks coming in, though, going to be able to save that Overlord just barely. Already supply blocked. Where is the Corsair fleet? Here's a Corsair fleet. Zeke might want to pull some of those Scourge over and try to take that out. You do not need that many Scourge there to defend against drops. But too late anyway. The Corsairs have moved back. Alright, so Jumper didn't actually do any economic damage. He moved out into the middle of the map and didn't have enough after that engagement to really attack a base. But still, a good engagement for him overall, taking out a lot of those Hydralisks. And going to be able to snipe that Overlord, who was already significantly injured by the Archon. And ooh, getting a little bit closer to those Scourge. Oh, getting way too close to those Scourge. Gonna take some hits there. Zeke backing up, though, because this is a very scary army for Jumper right now. But now going to catch him at a nice angle, clumping up a lot of those units, not going to have a high ground, but still not enough Hydralisks to deal with quite that many speed lots. Archon's going to be very good too, but I don't think that's going to be enough to deal with that big of a force. Ooh, very good Storm though, taking out a lot of those Hydralisks. Zeke not Storm dodging at all. He's going to lose a lot of them, but he still had enough units that he's just going to be able to win anyway. Both Archons go down. He did not lose any Corsairs, which is nice, but still, overall successful defense from Zeke, even without those Storm dodges. Try to clear that last one. So, Jumper should be thinking at this point what steps he needs to take to be able to take a third. As I said, both of these thirds can be a little bit far away for Protoss to defend, so you have to have a little bit of a plan to when exactly you're going to move out and when you are safe to take an expansion like that. And against a player like Zeke, who has just such good game sense, excuse me, who has just such good game sense to know exactly what you're planning, it's just going to be really hard to find a safe time. That's an interesting pylon location. I don't think he's going to build cannons there. Might just be a scouting pylon. Anyway, Jumper moving down to clear out that location. Is he actually I don't think that this expansion is going to be safe, though. It looks like he's planning on expanding here. But unless he's actually moving out with his army and threatening one of Zeke's expansions, I don't know what's going to stop Zeke from just attacking it. Zeke's actually moving out with a pretty good force here. Lots of lurkers out for Zeke now. We saw a couple of them earlier. The size has only increased, and oh, this lurker, aw. Lurker was blocking the Zealot, but the Zealot will be able to reunite with the rest of the army. Jumper's actually leading with the High Templar there. He needs to be a little bit careful to not allow them to be sniped by Zeke. Zeke's very good at sniping those. But here comes Zeke to attack that base. Yeah, he didn't have a chance to get up the Nexus even, but if he had, I don't think it really changed much. These pylons are going to go down very quickly. Neither player is going to be able to cross the bridge, though. It's just going to be a little bit too hard. Zeke should probably leave a... Is that going to be enough units? I'm not sure if that's even going to be enough units to clear these up, but Jumper's not reacting, so yeah, there will be enough. Jumper's going to be supply blocked and even more supply blocked after that. So this is going to be a pretty big attack from Jumper, and he really wants to do some damage here. And attack, he's going to be able to be on the high ground for the majority of it. Some pretty good clumping. Oh, that's a bad storm, though. Storming most of his own units. Oh, but Jumper does not have any observers. He has so much storm, but he needs to use the storm on the lurkers, which he is not. Finally, an observer coming in. There are only 2 lurkers there. He would be able to kill both of them off. Oh, but lurkers coming in from the back, trying to attack Jumper from behind. Unfortunately, Jumper's observer did get here, but still going to lose a lot of those High Templar. Jumper coming into that attack with so many of them, and only one remains with 1 storm. Jumper does not want to be using his gas in that way at this point. Still a huge pack of Scourge here. If he wants to go for Storm Drops, which is what looks like he's threatening with that shuttle, he needs to be very careful to not fly over in that direction, or at least use the Corsairs to clear them out first. Only 4 plus 1 Corsairs is not going to be enough, but still, just needs to be mindful of that. Nice line of lurkers coming in, but not terribly spread out, so these storms are going to be able to do some good damage here. Zealots, on the other hand, not going to be able to do good damage. Going to take a lot of damage. Oh, but that High Templar's too close. There we go, moving it back. Luckily, attacking the Zealot instead of the High Templar. Don't know why there's a shuttle out here, but it's going to be sniped. Nothing in it, so not terrible. Ooh, a pretty good storm. Yeah, and Jumper, he keeps attacking, but whereas Zeke should feel very comfortable on 4 bases, now has a queen's nest and a hive. I don't know if adrenal glands are done quite yet, but is continuously making progress in this game. Jumper, aside from making a bigger army, isn't making a whole lot of progress in this game. He really isn't closer to taking an expansion. He hasn't done any damage to Zeke at all beyond army. Huge lurker field at the top of this ridge, but didn't even need to burrow the rest of them. Jumper's going to pull back anyway. So, Jumper now threatening to expand to this side. I think that this expansion might be a little bit easier to defend, just based off of this is going to be a smaller choke compared to this one to try to block off. Even if it is slightly closer to your opponent's base, but still, it's going to be rather difficult. Oh, shuttle's on the way. Yet another one, after kind of carelessly throwing away the first one. This is a weird composition from Zeke, just this many lurkers without support, and he's keeping them very clumped up. Is he going to be able to hit the Templar? Oh, first storms go off. Oh, very close to storming his own probes. That would have been huge. And... ooh. Well, that almost did a lot from a lot of damage to Jumper just by accident, and by sitting in those lurkers, he is going to be able to send in a bunch of cracklings to take out some of the cannons and the Nexus. Man, those cracklings do so much damage. What the upgrade's like? Oh, only +1. Well, that attack wasn't horrible for Zeke, but I'm just not sure why he was attacking with pure lurker in that fashion, and he didn't even spread them out very well. If he had spread them out a little bit better, Jumper would have been a lot slower in clearing them out because he wouldn't be able to use storms effectively. And the units here would have been able to do more damage. The shuttle overhead, and there are 4 Templar here. Oh, there comes a Scourge. Gets one hit off on the shuttle. Just continuing to rally in cracklings. And eventually these cracklings are just going to be able to overwhelm Jumper. As these Templar are starting to go down, there goes the Archon. One of the Templar already died, and now Defiler's coming in as well. And yeah, it looks like just a constant stream of Glings is going to be able to pick off Jumper, and Jumper is going to be forced to GG. Just could not set up that third against Zeke. Zeke takes game number 3, and Sass is up a game now. Something? Oh, okay. I got set the replay pack for the grudge match coming up immediately after Sass versus GT. But for now, we're going to move into the next game. South Park versus Draw. Alright. Alright. So, in the top right, we have Sass's first non-Zerg of the day, Draw, who is violating the only Zeke's allowed to have capital letters rule, the unofficial rule that I just kind of made up on the spot. And in the top left, we have GT's South Park, I believe capital S, capital P. Yes? Yes. And he is the teal Zerg. So, yet again, a PVZ. 2 players you should be pretty familiar with. But I like Draw in this matchup, just because Draw is a player who does a lot of research on his opponents. And Draw should know that South Park's a 2v2 player, should know that he likes to go for the 9 pool, or he's not going for a 9 pool this game, but really likes to go for speedling attacks, at least, and will be able to construct a proper wall and have sufficient cannons to defend against that. But we shall see. Why is the vision range on? Okay, I do not know why the vision range on that pylon was so little for so long. Because the pylon gains vision when it actually finishes warping in, but it finished the warping in animation, it just did, the circle did not grow. That's weird. Anyway, South Park throws down the 12 pool. So just because he's not going for a 9 pool does not mean that he can't go for a speedling kind of bust. South Park tends to go for speedling attacks in just about every game, and they come at various times and are of various strength. But Draw should be aware that that is a threat. A lot of the best thing Draw can do right now is just keep that probe alive for as long as possible. The longer he keeps it alive, the better information he's going to have about exactly what South Park is doing. Hopefully he can keep it alive at least until speed finishes, if he doesn't make any mistakes. South Park, realizing he's scouting in the wrong direction, now heading back with that Overlord, so he will eventually find out where Draw is. But Draw, I think that was Forge first. He at least should be going Forge first against a 12 pool. That you can't quite swing Nexus first, a little bit too risky. But firstlings are out, and that cannon should be up in plenty of time. The issue being that actually this is really exposed. He's gonna put the gateway here, but that's still relatively open. I mean, that's at least like 5, 6 zealots across. And these cannons are not guarding the front very well. This is a very odd cannon placement. I don't know why he placed one so far back like that. I guess it's to cover the ramp better so that if he sees links coming in, he can have time to pull probes. And then with pull probes here, at least one cannon will be shooting. But this does not look... It's certainly an odd wall to have your cannon so far away from the forge. Like, so far away to a point I'm not even sure if this cannon covers this forge against Lings attacking at the bottom here. If it does, it's really close. And Hydralisks will have no problem taking out both those buildings, even without range upgrade. South Park has expanded. He expanded to the closest... that's the closest third with a gas available. If he had taken this base here, that'd be a really good indication that he's going to go for some insane aggression. But by taking one with a gas, it's a little bit more reserved aggression. Still going to put some pressure on with Hydralisks, but not necessarily all in. Well, good scouting by Draw. He's going to be able to see that base. Oh, apparently a pause. He's going to be able to see that base. I don't even think he went and scouted out this one. He just guessed that South Park would not take another natural. Good move by him. And Draw's actually going to be the first one to attack here, sending out a lone zealot to try to pick up some drone kills. Unfortunately, there's not a hole in the mineral line here, so the zealot doesn't have as easy of a time finding a good space to hide behind. And South Park does a good job of taking care of that, losing a minimum number of Lings in the process. And Draw's actually going to throw down another pylon here to continue the wall. Now, obviously not going to be tight on this side, not going to be tight on this side, but only a two units to make a full wall. Certainly better than the 5. Wow, Draw's gonna be the one who goes for an all-in attack here. Ooh, South Park with the run by. He manages to get one of the cannons. The cannons were a little bit too far back to really help out, and South Park realized that that probe was a vulnerable point to hit. So are the Lings going to be able to do much else, though? They took out a couple probes, took out the cannon, and not quite both zealots. The other zealot will live, but this wall is vulnerable for the time being. Draw now building a cannon a little bit closer, but these buildings are all unprotected. The Zerglings can attack whatever they want. And Speedlings! South Park went Speedlings, and he's doing lots of damage with them. What else is new? How do you not defend against that? It's South Park. Like 4 cannons. You should just build 4 cannons every time. I think you'll look silly, but you won't look this silly. Anyway, there are now 5 zealots there. 5 zealots are going to make this a little bit easier to wall. A couple of them going down, so down to 4, 3. Oh, South Park's doing a lot of good damage here. Almost losing another one. Oh man. Oh man, South Park's keeping these zealot numbers down, so this speed lot timing isn't going to be as strong. In fact, it's not even +1, it was just speed. So Draw's already lost what, 6, 7 zealots so far? Any attack he's going to be doing is either going to be significantly weaker or significantly delayed compared to what he would be doing normally. South Park's doing a lot of good damage with these Lings and is switching into Mutalisks, going for a Mutalisk follow-up, and this could be really bad for Draw, as Draw has no Corsairs to help fight against it. And now Mutalisks are overhead to attack the Zealots. Draw is going to have to rely on cannons, and pretty much only cannons to defend. Wait, what? Draw is actually getting +1 air weapons before even starting the Stargates, but now going to go into double Stargate production. Is it going to be too late, though? There are only a couple cannons to defend, and these Mutalisks look like they're going to be able to focus down the cannons. They are, in fact, going to be able to focus down the cannons, and the Stargates are going to be nowhere in enough time to defend. Draw needs to throw down a lot of panic cannons immediately. There's another one way in the back here, but that one's not going to be enough either. Another one morphing in. The probes are being pulled to the natural, which is slightly more defended. There's about 4 cannons there. But the Mutalisks can do so much damage to the main, and there's nothing Draw can do to stop them. The cannon goes down. The warping in cannon goes down. These Mutalisks have killed a lot of probes already, and they're going to be able to take out the pylon that's powering those 2 Stargates. Oh, the Stargate's going to be unpowered. No Corsairs out for quite some time. Now throwing down cannons over in this corner, trying to protect the corner of this gateway or something. I'm not even sure what that's going to protect. Both of these are unpowered now. The Mutalisks can attack whatever they want. Probably should focus on the Nexus. Unless they want to go and just attack cannons. I mean, this is going to waste a lot of money from Draw at this point. That's another good option, just picking all of these off. And they do, in fact, go down. A couple more probes going to be lost. And South Park doing so much damage to Draw here. Taking out this pylon is going to depower this gateway. So Draw will only be on 2. The only thing he oh, question mark. He's confused. What are these flying shrimps that are raining death down from above? Oh, mistype. Never mind. Oh, and here comes Speedlings. Speedlings and Mutalisks, and Draw has a single Zealot. Oh, man. The Mutalisk could go back in to take out the Nexus, but no. Just gonna go for the kill right here. Zerglings streaming in. Mutalisks attacking the cannons. 1 cannon goes down. 2 cannons go down. 3 cannons go down. 4 cannons go down. And all the probes are vulnerable. There is a single Zealot, but I don't think that Zealot's going to be able to do enough. Draw, GG's. South Park tying up the series 2-2. So, good series so far, but both teams have used some of their best players. GT using Michael and South Park, Sass using Draw and Ace and Zeke. So now it's going to be a little bit of the depth of both teams in the final leg here, as this has been reduced to just a best of 3. And next up will be Lockdog versus Snitzel. Interesting. So, in the top left position, we have Sass's Lockdog. Whoops. walk. Dog. He's the red Protoss. In the top right, we have GT's Schnitzel with the Polish spelling. I recently found out that Schnitzel used to not be Schnitzel. He used to be Schnitzel spelled other way, but also wrong. And it just makes me wonder why he doesn't change his name to Schnitzel the way that everybody else reads Schnitzel, except for Polish people. And it makes me wonder, like, is this the way that Polish people spell Schnitzel, or is it the first way he had? Because the first way had Y's and Z's in it, and that, like, almost made more sense. But then he changed it to this way. It'd be kind of ironic if he changed it to a way it's like, oh, people will be able to pronounce this one easier, and yet it's harder to pronounce, or at least less intuitive to pronounce, because they're both pronounced the same way. Well, Lockdog versus Schnitzel in a PvP. This is neither of their best matchups. Yeah. It's more of Schnitzel's not best matchup than his Lockdog. Lockdog's a little bit more balanced, whereas Schnitzel's best versus Zerg. But it's kind of weird in that way. Never mind. I'm getting into stats and stuff. When both players scouting out for proxy, when I've been compiling stats, Schnitzel's best matchup is versus Zerg, and you can tell that just by watching his games. He just plays better versus Zerg, and he makes less silly mistakes versus Zerg. But when you actually look at the stats, his statistical worst matchup is versus Zerg. So it's kind of weird to say that his best matchup is the one he has the worst win percentage against. But then you also have to consider that he has to play a lot of Aces and Zekis and Michaels and other really talented Zergs, where he doesn't necessarily have to play so many talented Terrans and Protosses to a lesser extent, so. Anyway, both players get scouts in. Lockdog is going to see 2 gates go down. And Schnitzel, he poked in with the probe momentarily, just in time to see the Cyber Core and then immediately go away. And based on the gateway timing, I don't actually know if he saw the Nexus when moving in, but he does realize that Schnitzel went for a 12-nex. One Zealot's really not going to be able to do much to punish it. Now, how is Schnitzel going to follow this up? Is it going to be with a Forge? Because the Forge is the quote-unquote the foreigner way of doing it. You build 5 Zealots, you attack, get a Forge, and build some cannons, possibly go DTs afterwards. But the Korean way has been one where the Forge is done even faster, where you only build like maybe 1 Zealot and then get the Forge, and then you can get some really fast tech and just skip that normal 5 Zealot attack that the foreigners do. But it looks like he is continuing Zealot production, so it's going to be the quote-unquote more classical way of doing a 12-nex. Lockdog is going to manage to get a scout off into the base. Scout's not going to mean much, but the Zealot still has a good amount of health left, so there's a good chance he could pick off a probe or 2. Needs 3 hits to kill a probe. But Schnitzel's moving out with his first few Zealots. Lockdog should be able to hold it off, though. There should be 3 goons out by the time that those Zealots arrive. And yeah, only a couple Zealots. Lockdog, though, gonna have to shoot up a ramp, means he's gonna miss a little bit here. It might cost him a Zealot, but still shouldn't lose too much. Meanwhile, he's still doing a good job of keeping, well, never mind. He was doing a good job of keeping that Zealot alive. Finally goes down. And Lockdog, I don't think Lockdog should be so gung-ho about holding that ramp. It's more important to just not take too many hits on your Dragoons. Just back off. It's not going to be a problem. You weren't going to block the Zealots from running down the ramp anyway. And Sizzle's moving out He's moving out a little bit in an odd way, avoiding the shorter path. But at the same time, Lockdog is also avoiding the shorter path, so they might connect in the middle. No, they will not. Snitzel did drop down just low enough to avoid the goons coming out. He's actually going to just camp them right in the middle there. But only a couple of Zealots right now going against all of Lockdog's goons. Lockdog should be able to micro this very easily to take out the Zealots. What is Snitzel going to do with his Zealots? It looks like he's attacking. There's also a probe coming in. I don't think that's going to be enough, though. It's going to make for a pretty hard situation to micro for Lockdog, microing on two fronts. Snitzel does have cannons up in time, though. It's 4 cannons versus 5 goons. That should still be advantage to the cannons, especially with the 2 Zealots to help out tank some hits there. But here comes Snitzel's attack. Only 3 Zealots, though. Shouldn't be able to do too much. Lockdog just has to micro well here. But looks like he can do an okay enough job. It does take a lot of hits on the Dragoons, but so far it's all shield damage. So... okay. It's okay. Well, Snitzel has lost a lot of Zealots and done very little army damage to Lockdog, but at the same time, Lockdog hasn't been able to actually punish the fast expo, so Snitzel should be able to remake his army relatively quickly. He's going to have slightly better tech as well with that faster gas, as Lockdog's Robo just finishes up and starts the observatory, compared to Snitzel's, whose Templar Archives is about halfway done. Does he not have a Robo? I guess he doesn't have a Robo. Anyway, obviously Lockdog's supply is going to be better for a good time. A combination of Snitzel losing a lot of his Zealots and 4 cannons here eats up a lot of your early supply, because that's 600 minerals that otherwise would have been invested in goons. Alright. Both players are going to be going the Templar route rather than Reavers. Should be interesting to see exactly what kind of Templar. Snitzel already making the DTs. He's getting Storm behind this? Not quite yet. But a couple DTs on the way. As you saw, Lockdog played it safe, already has observers out, so those DTs should be able to do absolutely nothing. Not even enough to really slow down the push, because by the time the DTs get to the front, a second observer, well, there's a second observer now, so Lockdog can keep one here and one with his army. And it looks like Lockdog will now move out, going to see a probe out in the middle of the map. The DT should probably turn around. Oh, is he going to lose the DT? He is going to lose the DT. Snitzel making a bit of a mistake there, just throwing away that expensive unit this early. Lockdog's actually going to expand behind his large goon force, or relatively large goon force. It still won't be able to break through the cannons with the goon reinforcements, but it's really going to keep Snitzel pinned back. And if Snitzel can't deal with this third, Lockdog's going to be able to make a lot more units. Second DT does manage to make his way over to the base, but as I said, he already had an observer there to defend the DT from that kind of attack. Observer for Lockdog comes up here and sees the Zealots that Snitzel was hiding to try to go for a backstab at some later point, going to lose one. The other ones, like, try to jump into the ocean, apparently. At least they looked like it. They were weighing their options of whether they could somehow learn to swim with armor on. I don't even know if that's water. Could be like oil or magical StarCraft substance. Lockdog doesn't have as big of a supply lead now. Snitzel's been able to catch up a little bit, but he's going to go in for a 4 DT drop. The Robo Bay just... the Robo Bay finished, and the first observer is just out. But where's the observer going? It's just going to sit in the natural. There is a cannon in the main. A couple cannons isn't going to be enough to stand up to 4 DTs. But it does give enough time for the Observer to get down there before DTs do too much damage. There goes the cannon now. So these DTs shouldn't be able to do a whole lot here. But managed to be able to get some probes and a Zealot or two. Okay. And actually they're going to be able to get some more probes afterwards. Snitzel having a little bit of trouble getting its army back there to properly defend it. And Snipes a High Templar. Okay. So not a terrible drop. He was hoping to catch Snitzel a little bit more off guard there, but still didn't end horribly. And Snitzel's now down 20 supply and down an expansion. The 12 next really just did not pay off for Snitzel. It was too easy for Lockdog to expand behind it. And Snitzel's having a lot of trouble punishing anything that Lockdog's doing. You can start to move out here. He does have a good number of Templar, and some nicely placed Storms can help. Storm still getting pretty close to done. Lockdog's a little bit behind that. But Lockdog is just going to cannon up at the top of that ramp, and I don't know how Snitzel's going to be able to break that. Still needs to wait a little bit longer. He definitely needs Storm. Oh, Storm's finished. Never mind. He does not need to wait a little bit longer. Observer's going to be sniped, though. Oh, very good Storms, though. Doing a lot of damage to those Zealots, a lot of damage to those Goons. That's certainly going to help with only 2 Storms used. Still has a lot left. Maybe he can just find it, but now he's got to go up the ramp. Again, a pretty good Storm. Takes out the shuttle. Oh, but he just can't quite find the right angle there. Lockdog just has too much stuff that even with those Storms doing a lot of good damage. And is this a... That does not seem like the right idea. It's just sending in those naked Templar. I think Snitzel made a micro mistake because his army's going in all directions. He's just losing it piece by piece. And it looks like he's going to lose these Templar too. Nope, they're not going up. Probe moving around down here, going to set down a pylon at each expansion just to make sure that Snitzel can't take a hidden one and come back into this game. But Lockdog's continuing to extend the supply lead, continuing to mine off of a third base that Snitzel hasn't even started, hasn't even threatened to start. Is there at least an upgrade advantage? He has plus... Nope, they both have +1, and +2 will be slightly faster for Snitzel, but not significantly faster. And now here come all the Zealots. Storms going down on both players' units, doing some good damage, and now the Zealots are going to be forced to pull back. Yeah, there's nothing Snitzel can do at this point. Ugh. How close is Snitzel getting to mined out? Still a little bit of ways to go before mined out. About a third of the minerals remaining at both bases, but... Nope. Lockdog tries to hide the Zealot there, but Archon finds it. Wait. Something weird happened there. Because the Archon got 2 shots off, and the Zealot had 12 shields left. But the Archon does 33 damage a shot. So, like, one of those shots missed and only did splash damage? That's weird. I'm pretty sure Templar fit out here. Pretty sure that these 2 gateways are not tight, preventing Templars from stepping out into here. At least I hope not. Or I hope it's not tight. I hope they can get out. Lockdog with a random DT. Going to try to shut down this Nexus. Snitzel, I don't know where Snitzel's observers are, but Lockdog's moving out into Snitzel's army. Both players on the low ground here. Some very good Storms going off on Lockdog's army. Now finally, Lockdog getting Storms off his zone. And it doesn't matter that all these good Storms are going down on Lockdog's forces. Lockdog just has way too many. It's almost max compared to 110. Snitzel going to be forced back. He does have a slight upgrade advantage, but that's just not enough. It looks like this Nexus is going to be taken out as well, and Lockdog can just go for the kill at this point. Doesn't need to worry about the storm, doesn't need to worry about the ramp, just A-move everybody right up there. And there is nothing Snitzel can do at this point. GG from Snitzel. Lockdog taking game number 5, and Sass is one game away from winning this first clan war and going up, needing only one more win to take all of Gambit Cup. Alright, the final game before Ace Match. If there is an Ace Match, I don't know. These are anti-spoiler reps. But we have Skylime versus Semi. Skylime versus Semi, our first Terran of the day coming out. Alright. Oops, accidentally dropped my keyboard. Or popped up my keyboard. But in the top left position, we have GT's Semi. Only a capital S? Indeed, only a capital S. And he is the orange Protoss. And in the bottom left position, we have Sass. Actually, I don't know how to capitalize this one either. No capitalization, as he is Hungarian. Skylime. Eventually, people are just going to start using Hungarian characters in their names, and I won't be able to type it out because I do not have a Hungarian keyboard. I do not know. I'm pretty sure Hungarian characters just has a bunch of accents on the top. It's not like Russian type letters. Pretty sure. My limited knowledge of Hungarian. Anyway, Semi going out for the relatively early scout. And that's... Does that actually helpfully mana his probes? That does not seem like that is a very helpful manner at all. I think Semi done goofed. I think Semi meant to put that pylon in a really good place that helped out his probes, but as you can see, there are probes that like went here and then immediately went back around. But now they're not doing it. Is this actually helpful? Did Semi not goof? Maybe he didn't goof. Anyway, he did gas deal. It's worth mentioning. And now this probe is trying to slow down construction on the barracks. But doing a pretty good job. I want to see... I wanted to see Semi like mine the gas, then mine the minerals, then mine the gas, then mine the minerals. Because that's the ultimate annoyance of a Protoss probe. When they start mining your resources and it's not just one, it's like constant mining. Anyway, we'll see. We'll have to see how Skylime reacts to this. Typically, Terran players don't terribly mind that gas deal just because they're going to be able to expand. They want to expand anyway. But if Skylime was planning on going for factory first, this would indeed slow him down. So, Cybercore down. Semi's not going for a lot of aggression behind this, as he only made a single zealot and now a goon. So it's a little bit interesting to see he went for the gas deal. Normally when you go for a gas deal, it's because you want to be aggressive. You want to stop the Terran from getting the factory so that they can't get either vultures or siege tanks out, so that you can pour on your own aggression and do damage. But Semi just kind of gas stole and then did nothing behind it. I mean, there are benefits to it. I mean, you're certainly slowing down the factory from coming down. So he'll have less siege tanks when he does push out. The FD push will be slightly delayed, but most Protoss players don't bother doing it for such little benefit. Well, first goons are going to be coming out, and the siege tank is quite a bit away. Skylime needs to pull back with his marines, as one goon can beat 3 marines. Yep, get back in that bunker now. And these refineries are just finishing up. Skylime now above 50 gas, but it's going to be quite a while before the tank come out. Semi does have a lot of time to shoot at barracks or bunkers, forcing a lot of repair. That may cost Skylime 100 minerals in the end. Be kind of an interesting use of it, just to use the gas steel to be able to attack these buildings for a longer time. So far, Skylime just like letting the barracks die for now. Finally coming to repair it. Normally you need 1 SCV for every Dragoon on a bunker, but on a barracks I think you need a little bit less. Yeah, it looks like 1's not going to be quite enough, but 2 will be overkill. Indeed. Range should be finishing up pretty soon. There we go. Range is done so they can focus on the bunker. Bunker is a little bit easier to take out. A little bit better target overall. And, oh, Semi's actually going to divert some of his fire, splitting the attention of the SCVs, hoping to catch Skylime off guard a little bit there. Interesting maneuver. Meanwhile, Skylime has 2 factories down, machine shop halfway done. There's still a little bit longer before siege tanks finally get out. But that is quite the interesting maneuver, as the SCV, just barely gets pulled back there on time. Semi just trying to be a little bit tricky with his Dragoon force here. It still won't quite work out for him though. 4th SCV is pulled. And Semi actually takes a lot of damage on that Dragoon. So, 2 siege tanks are on the way. And siege mode right behind that. Should not be hard for them to take these out. And what is Semi's follow-up? Because he hasn't expanded yet. Ooh, is Semi bulldogging? Is Semi gonna try to bulldog this? Semi to keep GT alive. Okay, it's gonna be an elevator. He's elevatoring 3 zealots initially, and then we'll bring up goons behind this. How long is it gonna take Skylime to realize this is coming? He does not realize it right now. He has all of his forces in the front, as Semi is going to be able to get his entire army up before revealing what's going on. Oh, more goons coming in for the front, but this attack could do a lot of damage. Now Skylime realizes it. He unsieges one of the siege tanks, and they're going to camp the factories, trying to pick off units that come out. They're not quite attacking anything in particular. They're more just waiting for units to finally pop and then take them out immediately. And oh, good shots on these Dragoons though. And the siege tank on the low ground is actually going to be able to hurt. This is great positioning from Skylime. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage to these units, but the zealots will be able to close in on the siege tanks. So now it's just that 1 to try to defend against this, and the zealots will make their way down. There are marines in this bunker though. Well, but the marines not going to quite be enough. He needs to pull back the siege tank. There we go, pulling back the siege tank. Going to keep the siege tank alive for now, just barely. Only 1 more Dragoon shot and it will go down. And he built a pile. He elevated in a probe and built a pylon there, trapping in units because Skylime built it too close to the wall. Very crafty. And now he's just continuing rallying goons. Skylime might just not have enough stuff, as he can't get his siege tank out from here. Actually, he doesn't even really need to. He can siege up here and still hit a lot of the units. Yeah, it looks like that's what he's going to do. But Semi's going to move forward. Mines have finished. Mines get taken out before they blow up all the goons. Now SCV's being pulled to take care of what's remaining. The siege tank can only be hit by a couple of them, but it's going to be enough because 1 siege tank just is not enough. And continued more and more and more goons. Great micro from Semi to not only micro his goons with pretty good effectiveness inside the main, but constantly doing the elevator micro. It can be very taxing to do both of them at the same time. But Semi's doing it very well. Going to be taking out all of these SCVs. There's only 1 siege tank in the front, and goons come in from both sides to snipe it. And now they can start ranging down the bunker. There's just too much right now for Skylime to defend, and it looks like Skylime will indeed go down. Semi doing so much damage here. Couldn't even take out that pylon. It would have supply blocked Semi, but no. Skyline, GG's. Semi forces the ace match. SAS versus GT ace match. Who are they gonna send? Who are they gonna send? I don't know. I can't see. Just as ace match. I don't have players. For ace match, we have... Really? In the right position, we have GT's Michael. Not surprising. The surprising one, and he's Red Zerg. The surprising one is sending out SAS Draw. Draw is not bad by any means, but you have Zeke. Oh, that's not a button I want to hit. You have Zeke on your team. He's really good. And even when SAS hasn't been sending Zeke, they've been pretty routinely sending Ace. So I was really interested to see who GT sent, either Michael or either Michael or Schnitzel. But SAS was the one who really surprised me. All right. Draw versus Michael. Draw PPing again. Well, in the matchup between a Hungarian and a Polish team, it's going to come down to the Battle of the Americas, USA versus Canada. Michael, USA's best player, Draw, Canada's best player. Well, both players will be scouting in the wrong direction, as they both got the uninhabited natural, and Michael is going to use the extractor trick with his 9-pool. So Michael will be getting out those fast lings. Draw should be able to see it in time. I'm sending out 2 probes. I don't understand why Protoss players do this. It's like, why do you send one home and then send one out immediately? Like, is it a direction thing? You trying to trick your opponent? Oh, Draw hasn't quite moved in yet. It looks like the lings will actually pop, or they'll pop just as Draw gets in there. So Draw's going to see the 9-pool. He should know to throw down at least one more cannon. Oh, and once again, Draw's going to put cannon very far away from his wall. And we saw him do this against South Park with not spectacular results. The idea being that if you go for a Zergling run by, you want to have you want your cannon to be able to do a lot of damage if you block here with probes. I think if you just put the cannon here instead, it would have been a little bit better off, instead of having them so far apart, but they are at least within range of each other. We'll see what Michael can do. Is he getting speed behind this? The extractor just started, so speed is a long ways off. And Michael only saw the first ling, or excuse me, used his lings to only see the first cannon. In a sense, this could bait Michael a little bit, because he'd had to get very far in with the lings, like to this point, before he realized that there was a second cannon back there. So he could be, so Draw strategy could get something a little bit crafty like that going. Anyway, Michael immediately putting 3 on gas as he expands to these corners. But it looks like Michael's going to have trouble doing damage with his 9-pool now. He's not building any more lings, is he? No. Just the initial 6, and were not able to do anything. So he does delay Draw's expansion a bit, but typically this is advantage for the Protoss when the 9-pool does not do anything. Why are we talking about Italians? I don't know why we're talking about Italians. Is it because Draw's Italian? Oh, finally got the probe. Well, I guess aside from the really just unconventional cannon placement, Draw's not doing anything out of the ordinary. Cybercore's on the way, expansion's already up, etc., etc. Is he gonna go for another early Zealot attack? It looks like he is. I'm just gonna sneak one out. There are no... I guess the Zealot will get there just as that drone hatches. So, nope, he's pulling it back. At least momentarily. If he goes and attacks when there's only one drone there, that'd surprise Michael. He might be able to pick off 1 or 2 workers. But it should be pretty easy for Michael to just transfer them across the map. Anyway, Michael's Spire has just started. He has his 3 hatches, so he has his lair. Michael, with 2 Overlords really close, he's going to have trouble defending both of them. He's going to have trouble defending either one. But normally Zerg players don't have 2 Overlords that close like that. You just need 1. He's now going to retreat them, so he might be able to get one of them out of dodge. But I would assume Draw should be able to hunt down the other. As the Spire, a little bit under half constructed. Ooh, Draw with the early Goon. Early Goon typically used just to hit up one of those Overlords and take it out. Supply blocking Zerg is they're not quite ready to lose an Overlord at that point. It does indeed supply block Michael, at least for the meantime. Another Overlord, ooh, just started. It's gonna be quite a while before that one finishes. So, nice move, picking off the free Overlord. Meanwhile, Michael has hatcheries 4 and 5 on the way. Looks like we're not going to see anything terribly cheesy from him in this game. And ooh, Michael keeping his Overlords really close together is going to allow Draw to attack both of them. And as long as Michael is supply blocked, he actually can't make any Scourge. So this Sayer might be able to do some more damage. I'm surprised he didn't take out the other Overlord. Maybe he just didn't quite see it. But no, couldn't perpetually keep him supply blocked. So the Scourge have started. And Draw is just going to have to accept 1 kill. Nope. Ooh. Interesting. Draw with a bit of a delayed second Stargate, and now going to start +1. Intriguing. Draw's going to go for a little bit of later mass Corsair style. Oh, he's going to lose that one? Is he going to lose that one? Nope. Looks like the Corsair's just barely going to be able to get out of there. Oh! Oh, but there's another Scourge coming in. 1 hit. Draw can only... No, he isn't. Nice positioning by Michael with that other Scourge there, forcing Draw to divert just a little bit. Actually, if Draw had just accepted that 1 Scourge hit, he still wouldn't have been able to get the Corsair back to the cannons, and it would have lived after only taking 1. But Draw tried to avoid any Scourge hits, and it ended up costing him the Corsair. Kind of cool how that works out. Draw's threatened a couple times to move out with this army here. This just a pack of Zealots and a Dragoon. How long until speed? He hasn't even started speed, and hasn't started +1. So this is going to be a really weird attack. He's using a lot of his gas for +1 Sayers and producing off of 2 Stargates. And oh, the Dragoon's going to be cut off. Sees Michael's big pack of Hydralisks. It looks like Michael's going to get really aggressive here. I don't know why Michael is stalking so many larvae at this base. But first DT out. First DT out for Draw. There is no Overlord in sight, so 1 DT can do however much damage 1 DT can do. But this Hydra Bus looks like it's going to be very strong. It takes out the only cannon that's actually warped in yet, doing a lot of damage to the Zealots. And now this DT is going to just continue to wail away on these Hydralisks, but it can't do damage fast enough as all the cannons are being taken out. And now the Hydra is streaming in further. That 1 cannon in the back, if he had been up further, it would have helped a little bit, but not horrible amounts. And now these Hydralisks can be able to take out a lot of probes. Now 2 DTs. There are 2 DTs wailing away at these Hydralisks, but so many of the probes are going to go down. Every probe but 1 will be lost in the natural. And now which direction are the Hydralisks going to go? It looks like they're going to go into the main. They still might be able to find a little bit more damage to be done there. More Hydralisks coming up to the front, trying to snipe that Forge. They will, in fact, get the Forge down. Yeah, picking off a couple more probes. The DTs will eventually be able to clean it up, but Draw's DT's not good enough to deal with that Hydralisk attack. Michael doing so much damage. Meanwhile, a huge number of Corsairs coming out, and it's going to be Draw's chance to pay him back a little bit. A Creep Colony started here. Does he have an Evo Chamber anywhere? No, he needs to start an Evo Chamber so that he can get a Spore Colony, because those Corsairs are going to rip through the Overlord so quickly that the DTs are still going to be able to do a lot of damage. But Michael's going in for another Hydralisk attack. That's another way of stopping Draw from getting any aggression of his own if you just perpetually keep the DTs back. But Draw has so many DTs out, I don't think that more Hydralisk attacks are going to work. Already 3 on the field. The Forge has been rebuilt so he can continue to build cannons, but... Oh, and the Hydralisks are just running in again. They're going to continue to stop these cannons from being built. Hydralisks can even slip through that gap. But too many DTs, really. I think that Michael needs to pull back now. Overlord speed has finished. It's going to help him get Overlords into position faster. He does have an Evolution Chamber, so can morph that into a Spore Colony. And, oh, manages to get 1 DT out of that, but loses all the Overlords in the process. Is Michael supply blocked? No, he's not. No. Well, Draw has a lot of +1 Corsairs. He has a lot of DTs out. DTs with +1 Corsairs are a pretty good combination, but he's taken a pretty big hit to his economy. Actually, it doesn't even look like it. It doesn't look like it's that big of a hit. It seems to have rebuilt his probes pretty quickly, but still, he definitely has taken quite a shot. And both of these bases... No, this base still does not have a Spore Colony. That is very surprising. What? What? Did Michael really mean to get the Overlord Vision upgrade? Or was that a misclick? Overlord Vision? Really? Who gets Overlord Vision? Who does that? Alright. Alright. Well, gonna move in with Hydralisks again. Now has Overlords to help out, but Draw has had time to get a lot of energy with these High Templar. Storm just finishing up now. And Michael's not going to be able to do anything against that many storms. Almost catching the hero DT though. Down to 2 health. Storm? There we go. Okay, and with that first storm, that really should scare Michael off. Just pull back with his Hydralisks. Michael is still on 4 bases. He didn't overcommit to the Hydralisk bust, so still has a pretty good economy behind that. Throwing down 2 additional hatcheries. And still 2 Dark Templar roaming across the map with a lot of Corsairs overhead. I think they were looking for this Overlord, just missed it. Anyway, this Draw's not going to be able to really do too much more damage. Well, Queen's Nest done. Hive just starting up now. So Michael will be able to move on to the Defiler stage. Probably get some cracklings. Interesting, completely skipping over not completely skipping over lurkers, but just getting his first lurkers now. And some over at this base as well. Gonna keep him safe in case Draw goes for his next strong attack. But Draw is getting pretty close to mined out at this point. Like, dangerously low. A quarter of the minerals left at that base? A little bit more than half at this base. Actually, a little bit less than half, excuse me, at that base. So, Draw really needs to figure out when he wants to expand. Did he drop in some zealots here? Or did they couldn't have walked through? Apparently the shuttle got sniped. But, not significant damage. Nope. just some Scourge hanging out there in case that he could find, in case he could pick off some Corsairs not paying attention. But Corsairs are able to take them out. As you can see, Michael sees the expansion. The draw is sitting down here. So Michael should be able to attack that and do some good damage. He's actually moving out with his Hydralisk now. I would hope he's moving in that direction. I think that's a very good game plan for Michael at this point, just preventing draw from taking another Expo. Does need to keep some Overlords though, as draw still has his DTs just kind of patrolling out. Ooh, and Michael's getting drop. Oh, I don't know if I like drop in this situation. Drop is really effective on Aztec overall, but if you're going to go for drop, then that means you're hoping that draw moves out of his base to try to defend this, I guess, and then you can come in to drop. But I think that it'd just be safer if you try to deny this and keep draw in his base rather than hoping draw leaves his base. There's the DT. Hiding in the trees. Well, the other thing about drop is that there are so many +1 Corsairs that they can do a lot of damage. Well, if they don't fly over Hydralisks. But they can do a lot of damage if they intercept the drop. And draw is pretty good about keeping his Corsairs around. So if you happen to get a little bit unlucky there and just and drop a little bit too close to those Corsairs, they could tear through all the Overlords before you get anything off. This is a little bit of a big stretch to go over if you're going to drop over that angle. Draw's loaded up a drop 2 High Templar, along with others. And meanwhile, Michael's moving out. I assume Crack is done, at least it better be. Defiler Mound's done, but no Defilers in for this attack. It's just going to be almost pure Hydralisk with a couple of links. Yes, there is Crack done. They're going to come up and, well, take out this base. They don't quite see the shuttle, though. But these Corsairs just hanging out overhead should be a pretty good indication that the shuttle's coming in. Is Michael going to be able to react? There is a Spore Colony, there's a Sunken Colony, but that won't stop a High Templar. And Michael's not moving. Oh, Michael! He's still not moving. He's gonna let them get the other storm off on that pack. Gonna drop this up here. He's really just... Wow. I don't know if Draw didn't realize that he had another storm with that one, but he totally should have been able to kill off all 6 of those drones. Well, here comes the drop. 16 cracklings, 23 cracklings, and 4 lurkers. No defilers. Why? You have a defiler mount. It's here. It's been up for a while. I assume Consume's done. Why are you not bringing defilers in this attack? And oh, Zealot sees it. Zealot sees it. Oh, the Corsairs are not in the right position though, so they will not be there to attack this. They're going to be able to get off most of the units. There are a couple cannons here, but not a whole lot. Storm's going down though. It's a good storm, hitting a lot of those Zerglings as they come out. Good position with those Templars, and Michael's drop is not going to work out at all. Here come the Corsairs finally to clean up the remaining Overlords, but they don't even drop all of their units. And the Lurkers that do manage to burrow are going to be taken out very quickly. The drones don't even retreat from mining. Very cleanly cleaned up by Michael. Excuse me, very cleaned up by Draw. And yeah, that drop did not work out for him at all. That storm though makes it so he's not supply blocked anymore, so that's nice. That's cool. And it looks like Draw is going to try to clear out this base of lurkers again. He's gonna lose a Zealot and a Templar where he really shouldn't have. But for Zealot drop in Michael's base, they kill off one drone and then focus on the Spire. The Spire is going to go down, and Michael's not paying attention, or just doesn't care. I don't know which. He pulled the drone, so I guess he just doesn't care. There we go. Now bringing back the links. Will the spawning pool go down? Oh, the spawning pool might go down. The spawning pool will go down. Wow. He just could not get the lings back there. Oh, he held the ling sitting here. He might have been able to get back there and save it. But Michael just squandered his entire lead. And now it looks like he's on his back foot trying to hold off Draw's aggression. And Draw's going to be able to do a lot of damage here. With this attack, finally, first swarms we've seen this game. It would have been helpful a little while ago. But Storm's going down on the packs of lings, going to be able to kill off a lot of them. And then retreating out of the Storm so the Archon clean up the rest. 34 kill Archon. And the kills just keep climbing. Oh, there we go. Finally taken out. Draw still does have a good pack of Corsairs. So he's going to be able to take out some more of those Overlords. As there's nothing to defend him. Michael doesn't even have the Spire to rebuild Scourge. And, oh, all these Overlords are going to go down. This attack is still happening. These swarms will eventually go away. I think that one's new. But reinforcements coming in from the back. Just trying to do a little bit of damage there. Michael parking his entire Aegis force under the swarm. Just preventing that from letting them do any damage. And, Michael under 100 supply. Still losing Overlords to these Corsairs. They must have so many kills. That's a 9-kill Corsair, a 7-kill Corsair. And still more. And still more. Oh, this is a drop? No, it's just one of them with 8 Zerglings in it. Alright, well, he doesn't lose that entire pack, which is nice. His supply block, though. And it looks like he is, in fact, going to load up for a drop. He now needs a drop to get back into the game. But I just did not like that decision from Michael. Drops really should not be used to when you're ahead. Drops are for when you're coming back from behind. And now he's dropping everything? He's dropping some of everything. Not on this one. Well, Draw's been able to take this expansion very easily at this point. Could probably even take this one if he wanted to. Has been sitting at about 150 supply for quite a while now. Compared to Michael, who's down at 112. Starting to run a little bit low at his bases. This one almost mined out. And these other ones getting a little bit low. This is the only fresh base he's taken in a while, and it's already mostly dead. And here comes Draw to finish it off. Yeah, Michael just does not have enough units here. Finally bringing in the Defilers a little bit too late, and oh, that Plague at least did hit a couple of the Zealots on the fringe. But still not a terribly good Plague overall. All of Michael's units are dying. And this base will, or at least this hatchery will in fact go down. Oh, storming himself. Might take a little bit more effort. He doesn't seem to want to bring the units over to help out there. Good storm spreadage, but no. It looks like Michael will just barely be able to defend this base. They were not focusing on the hatchery, as it remains with a little bit over 400 health. Where are those drones transferring? That's going to be a pretty risky transfer. Not through the Nidus Canal. I guess that Templar doesn't have enough energy yet. No. Oh, that seemed like a really risky transfer. Pack of Overlords moving out, but nothing in them. So, don't know what that was. Well, Draw's mined out at 2 of his own bases. This base was a mineral only, so it mines out very quickly. And Draw is going to be on only 1 mining base. But it's going to be pretty much impenetrable with that many cannons around defending against drops, and going to incorporate a lot of Reavers in. So, he's going to have one invincible base. He needs more than one, you would think. I don't think he quite has enough stuff to just overwhelm Michael. Yeah, the supply gap is really closed. Draw was at a 50 supply lead, now only right around 10. Hardly anything. Upgrades for both players. Draw's upgrades are nice at 3-2. Michael's also 2-2. Not quite up as high, but still pretty good. And, oh, Draw's gonna have a really hard time fighting up that ramp. Michael's gonna be in the perfect position. He already has some lurkers spread out, so they can't be stormed as effectively. And you know what? I don't know if I like this attack from Draw. If he loses this army, he's just never gonna be able to take another base. And on only one base, it's a pretty risky position to be in. I think he might be better off just backing off and keeping that army alive. At least until he can expand somewhere. Drop going in for Michael. Pretty big drop, in fact. This is going to be a lot. There's a Reaver walking away, but it looks like it's going to be caught. Or at least I think it is. And there's no workers here, so taking out the Nexus won't help too much, but you can still take out a lot of the gateways, take out some of the tech, possibly. There's still good damage to be done. Are all these Overlords empty? Oh, not that one. That's a mistake, having 7 more cracklings there, but still, there's not full loading up in that attack. Meanwhile, Draw's attack has pretty much died off now, as the Archons are falling. There's only one left, no Templar, and while this drop did not do a lot of damage, it's still okay, because Draw's attack did not do any damage as well. There are these lurkers in the back here that were not taken out, still cannot attack that hatchery. And in Draw, he used up his army, and now he's just not mining as much. This is all the mining Draw's doing. I really... Oh. That attack, man. 3-3-1, though. So, Draw with even better upgrades now. Michael is still at 2-2. Is he getting more upgrades? Okay. +3 melee, halfway done. And here comes the speed lots in, just to harass this mineral only. Interesting that Michael's only taking mineral onlys and not more gas bases, because he can't have much gas left at this point. Ooh, the Zealots are able to take that out, though. So nice. Michael didn't even cancel it. Okay, this one's depleted. This one's depleted. This one doesn't have a gas. This one is only mining with 1. And then that one's full. So he's mining at, like, what, 2 gases? Late game Zerg with only 2 gases at this point? This is certainly a mistake, only having 1 worker on gas here. Oh, I say that, and yet he has 3k gas. So I guess he really doesn't need any more gas. It's just weird that he's not using it. Meanwhile, Draw, still, it's pretty easy to keep your money down when you can't make very much. I'm curious if he's gonna get more shield upgrades or if it was just for the 1. It appears that it was just the 1. Okay. I really don't know what Draw's gonna do. He doesn't have a big enough army to take this expansion. I don't think so. You need you need lots of map presence to be able to hold that. It could just be attacked from too many directions. And there's no choke to funnel units through, so Storm isn't even gonna be so effective. It's hard to protect the Reavers. I think he might be better off taking this one. Just Reaver up. I think he's just going to turtle mode at this point. Just Reaver up really, really hard behind that base. Meanwhile, he's gonna shut down this base from Michael. Canceled it. Gonna lose a drone anyway, though. I don't know. That's a nice army from Draw. Maybe that is going to be enough. Oh, good plague though. Random Defiler walking out. And hits the shuttle. Hitting the shuttle is very nice. It makes it so that Hydralisk snipe is a lot more likely. Random lurker. Looks like the lurkers are trying to get in position to defend this base. So we're gonna have a bit. We could have had a big battle over that map, but Draw's gonna head in the other direction. If Draw can attack up this side, but he's not really gonna shut down too much. There isn't a whole lot of expensive tech in there that he can't just rebuild at the other base, and he's only mining. This is the only base with money left in it. Zergling coming in, Draw getting a little bit too far with that Reaver. He needs to be careful to not lose those. Those are really going to help him in this battle. And no. Okay, good micro so far. He's letting the Reavers get damage, but not too much damage so that they die. Oh, good Plague, though. Once hitting the Reaver, hitting some other units. And Zergling's coming in from the back. I think Draw's going to lose this army just to Cracklings. Not quite, but still taking a lot of damage. Only a couple observers left. And he lost both of his Reavers, too, which is pretty big. Oh, loses the Defiler without getting a swarm down. And yeah, this is what I was saying about this base being too hard to defend. You just need so much map presence to be able to take that, and Draw does not have that. I don't think that there's a safe way he can take that base. We'll be able to kill off all the Lings, but the Nexus needs to be restarted now. This base, under a quarter left. Actually, about a quarter left, not under a quarter. But still, a quarter left. That's not good. That's quite not good. Meanwhile, Michael's been able to get this base up. And this base looks pretty secure for the meantime. Whether or not he can get this base, I don't know. But he's got money. Michael's not worried about that. Surprised to have not seen the cows come out quite yet. I guess he just doesn't want to go for cows this game. Should probably transfer some of those workers over to this hatchery. Get a little bit more efficient mining than having 10 workers on 2 patches, but... Michael finishing up his perfect upgrades, up at 3-3 now. Draw still at 3-3-1. As we saw, he was not getting more shield upgrades. And it looks like Draw is now going to play a little bit more defensive with his army, which is what he needs to do to defend this base. But this is not a good base to play defensively with. If you take in this base is a lot easier to defend with that very small choke and the ramps and whatnot. Crackling's coming in to try to stop it, but Draw's going to be in position to shut that down. The Nexus does finish, and probes are being transferred there. Ugh. Man. See how this base? There's just like nothing Michael could do to take it out. Didn't even bother trying to. If Draw did that exact same thing here, then again Michael wouldn't be able to do anything against that. But now he's moving out with his army again, and this army's gonna move out, and then it's gonna get killed, and then there's gonna be nothing to defend this, and then Cracklings are gonna kill off everything here. Predicting it now. That's what's gonna happen. Michael now with about a 30 supply lead. Oh, here come the Cracklings. They skipped a step, man. I was expecting that army to die, and then the Cracklings come in. Oh, wow. Those are really nice storms, so never mind. Those are really nice storms. It killed all the Cracklings. I'm really curious how many kills that Archon has, because it's got to be like 30. Well, 20. 20? 11? I guess the Reaper got some of those kills. Good Plague. Oh, pff, really? Is Michael really trying to drop the Defiler Plague and then pick it back up? Like, he really wishes he had Reapers? Oh, that's cute. Whoa, that guy's freaking out. Well, Michael was not quite able to take out that base. All the probes are being transferred down here as this is mined out. So Draw's all in with his defense of this base. If the defense falls, he loses the game just straight up. He does not have enough bank. Meanwhile, Michael's taken this base that I thought Draw should have taken, and that's going to be pretty easy for him to defend. It's going to take a lot of effort on Draw's part to work his way up. And Michael can do whatever the hell he wants at this point. Except go Ultralisks. He doesn't have enough minerals to go Ultralisks, but anything else, pretty much. Oh, look at that big wave of red. coming in from all sides. It's just all cracklings, though. So... okay. Michael does need to do a little bit more than that. He needs something other than cracklings. Cracklings are good, but Storm's also good, so it doesn't quite work out. Oh, Draw's transitioning into that staple late game Protoss army of lots and lots of Archons. As you slowly run out of minerals and gas becomes more and more plentiful, you can start to add on balls and balls of Archons. Oh, Plague! 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 Oh, no! Oh, he consumed the guys that ran forward to Plague, but he only had 145 energy. He made a boo-boo. There we go. Not really hitting a whole lot. I mean, 2 Dragoons. The Dragoons have a lot of kills, though. 10 and 12. That's nice. And now, going to use the Reavers to fight his way up there. Unfortunately, there's an Overlord. I Draw just kind of ignored the Overlord there, sent the DT in anyway. And Michael's gearing up for another attack. Another attack on Draw's last base, this time with Hydralisks. You can't get perfect storms forever, right? That's what you got to be thinking. There's so many Hydralisks. Oh, there are so many Hydralisks. Now finally a swarm going down. Draw's going to be forced to pull back his units, but that Nexus, there's no way the Nexus is going to survive. And all the probes, will the probes at least live? He doesn't have enough money for another Nexus. He doesn't have enough money for another Nexus. That's got to be it for Draw. There's no way Draw can come back in this game now. The Hydralisks are taking out everything. A couple storms going down, but losing those High Templar. The Reavers working their way back. Oh, but they're not going to be able to do enough either. These probes are long distance mining. These probes are long distance mining, but it's going to be so long before they get another 400 to build the Nexus. And then so long before the Nexus finishes. But he's going for it, man. He's going for it. Do that long distance mine. I mean, he's also like replenishing his Reaver Scarabs. Oh, there we go. GG. GG from Draw. Michael wins it. Michael wins it in a pretty back and forth ace match. Nice. Alright. Don't go away as I get through the thank yous and whatnot. Thank you for the sponsors, or to the sponsors, not for. Thank you for the sponsors, generic Brood War gods, but also thank you to the sponsors. Twitch TV, site you're watching this on now, Nerbopolis and Prowler. Twitch TV, I've been really enjoying a lot of the other games Twitch TV has recently. They got a lot of good stuff on that channel. Good stuff. Thank you to the organizer, Awa, and thank you to these teams. This will continue next week. I believe it's Winners League format, where if GT wins Winners League format, they win it all. If not, it forces a set number 3. So the possible conclusion will be Friday. ISL on Saturday, but I am going to be casting. But I'm going to be casting a grudge match right now. See, look at that. LRM game versus TOT drone. I'm gonna keep calling him drone because I don't know how to pronounce that. Iriador? Iriador? I don't know. He's drone to me, man. So, I get to try to be an asshole. It's gonna be fun. Apparently I pronounced it right with Iriador. Cool. I can pronounce it Iriador, I guess. You're gonna need to give me a minute to set this up. Okay, extracting. Okay. Here's the format. You can all read that while I set this up. Copy them files. Then StarCraft. 4. Just in the generic no folder. Continue. Copying. Okay. Okay, they're in. Alright, so TVZ, random versus random, TVZ, random versus random, TVZ, random versus random, TVZ. Interesting format. Interesting format. Okay. So I may be getting a co-caster. That's the only other thing I need to set up. Because when game asks for you, I'm like, I can cast it, but I don't know if I'm a dick enough. I'm just too naturally happy of a person. But I can try, man. I'm gonna try to be mean. We have crickets chirping in the background as I get no response from my potential co-caster. Looking at my list of people, I don't have anybody good that would be like really BM. Like, All right. Apparently, I'm going this alone. It's fine, man. That's fine. I'm gonna wait to type in their names because I don't actually. Oh shoot! I never turned off the record.